Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here and welcome to another review, and now I'm bringing you the Amiga version of Jaguar XJ220. And one of the things I love about this game, apart from the really cool car in it, is this music. Slap bass at its absolute finest. Now, one of my YouTube friends, 8-Bit Rage, might well be interested in this, given what she got into not so long ago. I won't say anything more than that, but rest assured that I think the bass line in this will float to your boat, Rach. If you haven't checked out 8-Bit Rach's channel, I urge you to. She does game reviews primarily on the Amstrad CPC 464, but whether or not she'll venture across to other platforms remains to be seen. And you can choose to be controlling a joystick or mouse in this, automatic or manual gears, or you can choose between the old style of pressing up to accelerate or fire, that's sensitivity. And you can even design your own courses in Jaguar XJ220, which was brought out by Core Design in 1993, I believe. And second player if you so wish. Although one thing is odd is that if you do that, the second player actually uses the top half of the screen when it splits horizontally. And now it's going to take us to a sort of built-in car radio station where you can pick a music track or just sound effects for what you want to have to accompany you sound wise. And Moody Breeze is a firm favourite amongst the people who are fans of Jaguar XJ220, the game, and it's a pretty solid racer from what I remember, and the music is just sumptuous, and graphically it looks really good. I mean, even things like this map screen are pretty good. Start off in England. And with that course designer, you've got full control over what kind of things you put in, obstacles, how much a road bends, that kind of thing. It's not like Lotus 3's RECS, where you just put, for what I recall, you just put percentages in and the computer does the rest. You actually get full control over what the shape of your custom courses is like. I'm really looking forward to showing you this. This is one of my favourite Amiga games of all time. And even just hearing that music in the intro. Start your engine. Did you hear that wonderful speech just then? You either have sound effects or music. You can't have both. That disappointed some people because in a playable demo that was available once upon a time, it did actually have both music and sound effects. But it's still an eminently playable game, and look at that frame rate, it's wonderful. Oh, I love this music. It's bringing back so many wonderful memories of when I had this game on for the Amiga back in the day. Oh, damn it. And your car can actually pick up damage from knocks as it goes along, as well as general wear and tear on things like tyres. Yeah, in the course design, you'd even have to have control over what kind of road details on each side of the. So if you want street lights, and so forth. And notice there was a signboard for CMVG just then. CVG was a magazine called Computer and Video Games. It was just one of a selection of magazines that were available back at around the time that Jaguar XJ220 came out. And that was Computer and Video Games, one that catered from various different formats. It wasn't one which was specific to any particular format. I mean, you had things like Amiga format, which was solely for the Amiga, and it did later cover the CD32, which was also part under the Amiga brand. And I can see I'm in 10th position. Oh, this music's so lovely. Oh, it's just heavenly. There's an option to have no music and just have sound effects, as I said. You just can't have both, which is... Oh, fantastic. This just absolutely plays like a dream. And even though it uses that same sort of stripy road effect that I'm not massively keen on, the reason it works so well as I mentioned in my review of the Amiga Chase HQ port, it really didn't work very well in that because it just didn't have a good enough illusion of speed, whereas this does, and it's not half as ugly because of that. And it's got the lines in the road separating the lanes like you get on a regular road, which also helps keep the illusion of speed. Whereas in Chase HQ, it just didn't work. As I said, Core Design were responsible for publishing Jaguar XJ220, and I believe it also came out on the Atari ST. This is really wonderful game. It really is. If I had one gripe, it's a little bit on the easy side. I mean, sometimes when you take a knock, it's not punished heavily enough. And you do actually win differing amounts of money depending on how well you place in the race. And the card's really well animated as well. I mean, look how smoothly it sort of points to the left and right as you even just shift lanes. Yeah, Core Design would later go on to produce Tomb Raider. And that game, of course, needs no introduction. This I just when I play this, I just cannot get over how Ocean could possibly have even thought it was a good idea to release that Amiga port of Chase HQ that I reviewed not so long ago. It just beggars belief. This is the last lap. It's good. And you see when you get an idea of what the course entails, even though you get that preview on the map screen, you get a pretty good idea of what's coming when. And you're not just confined to England, you do get to go to other parts of the world as well on that world map that you saw prior to the actual race starting. It's just that we happen to be starting in England at the moment. I would absolutely love it if this music and the other songs in this game were available separately somehow. I mean, legitimately, I would. And because I actually think they're listenable even by themselves, just as music, the way some music from films, like the music of John Williams, for instance, can just be listened by itself, and because it's interesting enough to do that, it's not just incidental or just to create a particular mood. There are actually some tunes and motifs that make it memorable, and I honestly, truthfully feel that the music in Jaguar XJ220 falls into that category. Yeah, I came 6th in that particular race, so didn't do brilliantly there. Had I come first, second, or third, I would have been up there. And notice how it's actually got the. You actually race as part of a team. You're not the only. You don't play as the only Jaguar racer, especially not if you've got a second player with you. See, there's a Avery who came 4th, who just pipped at the post. So I still managed to get 13k, and I can use that in between races to repair any parts of my car that need repairing and so forth. Championship positions, and then you can see how the constructors are doing. Obviously, Jaguar is the one you're interested in there. Now I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna try and play through one other race with you, and this is where you can actually do repairs if necessary. Green means that that part of the vehicle is generally fine. Yellow is getting a bit woolly, and red is pretty badly affected, and you'd be well advised to see to it. See, all of this is looking green at the moment. Yeah, all of this is fine, so. So I'm just going to go straight on to the next race. And you can save your progress after each race, so I'll just exit from that. Now I'm just going to show you the sound effects. There'll be no music, but there are 5 other tunes that you can have while playing, and there's even a really heavy metal sounding song called Thrash Pig. Heavy fog making driving hazardous. Fastest lap 3 minutes 2.52 seconds. So we're still in England, and there'd be one more race in England before going off to another part of the world and doing another 3 races in that particular part of the world. I'm really enjoying this. It's a really good racer. It's not quite as good as Gremlins Lotus 2 though, but it's still a great game, especially with that course designer.
Start your engines.
Oh, I love the quality of that speed. And look at how they've done the fog. So as you can hear, the sound effects are pretty good as well. I really like the way they've done the fog effect on the cars and everything else in front of you. It sort of gradually uses a gradual stippling effect, which gradually eases as you get closer to things and they get clearer. Really good way of doing it. One thing I do recall from when it was in 2 players that there was a slight frame rate issue. Things weren't quite as smooth as they are in 1 player, but then it's having to deal with more on screen. Although for an Amiga, that's pretty disappointing when there was no such problem in split screen 2 player in Lotus Turbo Challenge 2. And when you brake, you see your brake lights come on. You bugger. Yeah. So lots of detail in this and really nice graphics. Oh. Oh, damn it. You. And see, there's even a sound when another car passes you. The attention to detail in this game is really good. Sort of almost makes you want to drive a Jaguar XJ220 yourself. Yeah, dream on, Texie. th position. Oh god, I can't see a thing. The fog's too thick. Right. And unlike the Amiga port of Chase HQ, there's none of this nonsense of being suddenly pulled off to the side of the road. And that, as I said in that wasn't just centripetal force. There are points even when I was on a straight when I was getting pulled off the road, and even points where I was slowing right down and I was still getting suddenly pulled off the road. So it wasn't just going too fast for a corner or anything like that. It was genuinely poor programming. At least there's none of that in this. You just press down to brake in this, just like you would normally. Even if you're using fire to accelerate, you'd still press down to brake. And it's a really nice touch that you see the brake lights come on like that when you brake. I needed to brake for that corner because it's a bit too sharp. They've really core design really to come up with a really good racer here. It's not the best racing game on the Amiga, but it's certainly right up there with the best of them. I mean, look, even when you sort of see that slightly side-on view, you can see the wheels spinning. That also gives helps with the illusion that this car's actually driving along the road. It's not just like a static sprite that seems to just stick there while the road around it moves about. That also helps with the overall illusion. I haven't seen another car for quite a while. They must be miles ahead of me. And this is the final lap. I don't think I'm even going to place in the top 10 this time. This is the first time I've played this in quite a long time, what you're witnessing in this review. But I am still enjoying it, despite the fact that I'm not doing all that well this time. Ah, starting to see cars. Whoa. Oh, darn it, took a knock there. Yeah, I'm really quite impressed with the way this has been done. I mean, the sounds are pretty good. I mean, perhaps I would have preferred a Meteor engine noise, but it could have been a lot worse. And everything just comes towards you so quickly and smoothly. It's really well programmed. I tip my hat to the people who programmed this. They've done a really bang-up job. Oh, God, that was close. You bastard. No, you don't, mate. Not that I'm triskaidekaphobic or anything like that. I just didn't want that driver passing me if I could help it. So much detail. No. Right, that's 11th place. So there's as you can see, it actually shows the car manufacturer on their chests, on their uniforms. It's not the same every time. Just the colours of the jumpsuits and the names are there. And I didn't get any money because you have to come 10th or better to get even the slightest cent. Never mind. So they're the championship positions. Music's here is pretty good as well. So that's Jaguar XJ220 for the Commodore Amiga. Not the greatest car racing game on the system, but it's definitely among the very best of them, and it's certainly among the most memorable. Graphics are nice. They're really well animated. You even see animation on the wheels when you're going around corners or changing lanes, and everything just moves so beautifully. And there's some nice attentions to some nice bits of attention to detail, such as the way the fog was done in that race I've just had. That's not the only thing in the game that's visually impressive. So the sound, well, the sound's pretty good. As I said, I would have preferred a somewhat punchier engine noise, but what's there I can't really complain about. But and and they're nice clean sound samples, and the music is just sublime. Whether it's this sort of music playing during this bit, or one of the 6 tunes that you can pick, or even that epic slap bass infused introductory music on the title screen. The music in this is just so good, and I'm really impressed with the sound and music in this. Gameplay plays really well. The car handles well. You've got the choice of pressing up for accelerate, which was how a lot of games were done in the early days on computers, before possibly Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge may have been one of, if not the first, to offer an alternative of pressing fire, which is far less repetitive strain injury on your arm and wrist for having to hold a joystick up position down for a long time. So, and of course there's the course designer, which can potentially increase longevity as you have fun designing your own courses and customizing all sorts of different aspects of the decorations either side and so forth. So the only real problem I have with the game is that it's a shame that you can't have sound and music. I mean, the Amiga 500 only had 4-channel sound, so that usually would have meant that one of the 4 channels would have been taken over by the sound, which would have meant some loss in music parts. I mean, quite often it would lose the either an element of the harmony that wasn't quite as important as say the bass and melody, or even the percussion part. And it's a shame that when you take a collision, it's not really punished heavily enough. So, as you saw when I looked at the damage it had taken, even though it had taken some knocks in the first race, it was still showing everything as green. So it could have done with being a little bit more challenging. But other than that, Jaguar XJ220 on the Amiga is a really good racer, and I'll happily give it 8 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed that review. Catch you on another one soon. Texie88 out.